Hey, my name's Katie Hagler. I am recording this speech to inform you on ways to handle children who may be having a lot of outbursts and struggling to get along with other friends. So, have you ever been in a store, a restaurant, or anywhere for that matter with a child that's just screaming, hard to settle down, throwing things, hitting stuff? Now imagine that multiplied by 8. That is what it's like working in early childhood. Um, Obviously the ratio is for 2-year-olds. 4 and 5-year-olds, I believe the ratio is 12. So, yeah. So I've designed this speech to help inform you on different ways to handle the behavior. I've been working with 2-year-olds for 10 years now, and I've worked with all different kinds of children, all different diversities. I've worked with children with ADHD, ODD, ASD, severely autistic, and high functioning autistic children. And sometimes children that are just really spoiled tend to be a handful too. And children who are neglected, that is a very special group right there. So either way, whether you work with children, you have family, or you're just go to the store, you're gonna encounter children. So we can all use the tools that I'm going to provide for y'all today at some point or another. So we're going to focus on what they're doing, why they're doing it, and ways to help resolve the issue. So first and foremost, let's talk about what is happening. Say you are, what do I want to say? Say you're at a store and they're screaming and crying, okay? Or are they just screaming? Because there is a difference between a child who is screaming and crying and a child who is just screaming. Usually if they're just screaming, it's because they're just mad, upset, over something like a friend's not sharing, or a friend knocked down something that they were building and they worked very hard on building, so they're mad. Or let's say a friend knocked down what they were building and one of the blocks hit them. Okay, so they're hurt too. You just got to look and see what they're doing. According to Sasha Long, a former special education teacher and board certified behavior analyst, there are 5 steps to managing a meltdown. That is: safe space, get yourself in check, model the behavior you desire, and give them choices. Offer support, and do not go into the situation with accusations. The first thing to do is calmly walk over to them. Don't go over there just agitated, mad. Like, they will feed off of that and it will make the situation a million times worse. So you walk over there. First thing you want to do is you want to look around, make sure there's nothing that's going to hurt them. Make sure you redirect the other children away from them so that they're not, like, when they're throwing a tantrum, make sure they're not going to do something that's going to hurt anyone around them. And you have to take a few breaths, okay? Because that That can be a lot. It may seem like it's just like 2 steps. Walk over to them, make sure nothing's around them. Okay, that in those few seconds, the screaming can just kind of get to you from time to time. So take a few breaths before you talk to them. You get down on their level, and you can use gentle touch, which is where you just gently like, hey, are you okay? Can we talk? Never grab them. Like, no, that'll just scare them and send them into a tizzy. And don't be like, hey, stop crying. Like, no, that's not gonna work. So like, hey, are you okay? Like, how can I help you? What do you need? What is wrong? So that's how you make sure to, or that's a safer way to engage with them and not react to the way they're acting. When you're calm and modeling the behavior you want them to show you, that helps regulate their body. A few things you can do is give them choices like, hey, you want to go chill out over here? You want to go lay in cozy? You want some water? That usually helps. And just being for them sometimes. Like, hey, you need a hug? I got hugs. Like, come get some hugs. And then we'll talk about it. Okay? And you don't always want to be like, hey, just come over here. You calm them down, just talk to it. No, because if you talk to them right then and there, that can set it off again. So then, once you get them calm, cool, and collected, you can kind of actually search on Google ways to help children with outbursts. I know one thing we have at work is message in a backpack, which can be found on, I think it's North Carolina. I'll come back to that. Oh, it can be found on the National Association for Education of Young Children's website. Sorry about that. That lists things like talking with them about the rules and expectations of the classroom. I have found it very helpful to have a list of rules and expectations in the classroom at the front of the room. And then we have little like cue cards kind of throughout the classroom. So if like we're in kitchen, I can be like, hey, you see this? Does this person have nice hands? Okay, let's make sure we're having nice hands, please. That way we can have a good day. And reinforce positive behavior. Okay, sometimes there's kids that will just pick fights because they get the attention. Sometimes, if they see Susie over here getting a sticker for cleaning up, like, they're gonna clean up because they want a sticker too. However, if it's children with ODD, they tend to do things to get a reaction out of you. Like, if they're not cleaning up, they're still playing, they're throwing toys. Like, hey, what are we doing? Why are we not listening? Like, they want that. Or, hey, do I need to call daddy? They want the attention. So don't acknowledge bad behavior. Always make sure if you are expecting something from the child that you are modeling the behavior you want them to do. That is one of the most important things you can ever do for working with children. And sometimes there may be a child that just tends to be more difficult. There's a lot of different ways that you can observe and try to help pinpoint what is going on. I know I spent a good 7 months doing a lot of running records, time sampling, event sampling, and that stuff combined with the stuff they did at home. We actually had a child diagnosed with autism, and those records are really helpful for the people that are helping out with that. And also, if you have those records, it's kind of like an icebreaker. Like, hey, Mom, have you ever noticed this? Well, yeah, he does it from time to time. Well, I've been keeping track of this stuff, and it's kind of like a pattern. Like, maybe we need to reach out and here's some information. Okay, but if you're not in childcare, but you have like a niece or nephew that's kind of like, hey, something's not. Don't say something's not connected there. That's not really nice. But something's not adding up. You can say, hey, Katie in this video was telling me about all this stuff, and why don't you try it? Like, hey, you can also watch childhood behavior disorders diagnosis and treatment on YouTube for more information on ASD, ADHD, and ODD. And if you ever find yourself thinking, gosh, that is just a really bad kid, just remember there's always a reason. Okay, kids don't just wake up and be like, hey, I want to be mean today. Like, I don't want to be nice. Like, what's the point of that? Yeah, no, that's there's always a reason. So even if it's a kid in a store, like, some kids just can't help it. And if you happen to go to the store and you see a kid throwing a tantrum and screaming and yelling, and that mom is just like, why? Please stop. What can I do? What? You can just stop and be like, hey, you look like such a super helper. I bet your mom is loving all your help right now. And that kid's gonna want to do things. They're either gonna start talking to you and stop crying, which is helpful for the mom, or they're gonna be so shy and scared that they're just gonna cuddle up to mom, and that even just that second is a major relief to the mom. Or you can say like, hey, bud, what's got you so upset? Why are you screaming and crying like this? And maybe they'll say like, hey, my mommy won't let me get these chips or these cookies that I really want, and I'm so sad and mad. And you can just say, I don't care. Don't say I don't care. Say, oh, I don't like chips and cookies either. I like strawberries and watermelon's super yummy. Like, if you say something like that, maybe they'll be like, hey, maybe that is pretty good. Say like, hey, why don't you ask your mommy if you can get that? And the mom will be happy that you offered or you distracted them with a healthy option versus, oh man, I'm so sorry. Those are my favorite cookies. Like, that'll make them a little sad as a mom myself. But again, the child will either be like, oh yeah, Mom, can we go get some strawberries, please? Or they'll just be like, oh, Mom, I don't know this person, help me. But hopefully next time you're around a kid and they're just showing out, you can take some of these things, like getting down on their level, talking with them, and making sure you model the behavior you want. Hopefully it helps, even if it's a stranger in a store. I can't tell you how many times it would have been helpful for someone to just be like, hey, bud, what's wrong? Even if it just gave me like 2 seconds of my child not screaming in my ear, Mommy! It can be very helpful, whether you think it is or not. Thanks for listening.